my two friends are huge State fans, and so every week we will talk about the Mississippi State game, and they have a huge game away this week in Hattiesburg. So big it's on ESPN, as JP was pointing out. So take it away, guys. This is y'all's field of expertise, not mine.
Yeah, before you get into the game, or we get into the game, I should say, I do want to give history on it, because this is technically like an in-state rivalry with State and Southern Miss. So we, the Mississippi State Bulldogs, lead the series 16-14 with one tie. State versus Southern Miss used to be a neutral site game in the 80s in Jackson. From 1964 to 1990, they played every year but two. I could not find out why they didn't play in those 2 years, but they did not. This series has been a series of runs. So in the beginning, State won the first 5. Then Southern Miss won 2. State won 3 in a row. There was a tie in 1973. Then Southern Miss won the next 9, including 2 forfeits from Mississippi State.
Brutal.
Both in the 70s. State won 2 in a row. Southern Miss won 3. And then since 1989, State has won the last 6. This is State's first trip to Hattiesburg since the year post Dak Prescott in 2015, where we won resoundingly. We've actually run resoundingly in all 5 games since then. But the Bulldogs will return to Hattiesburg this season. We are currently favored by 13.5. The total is 61.5. In terms of like an outlook for the teams.
Can I ask a question real quick
go
about
ahead.
that? So talking about it being a series of runs, what I'm hearing is y'all really don't want to lose this one.
Yeah.
Or you're going to lose at least your next couple to
that's
Southern
definitely.
Miss.
But also, it means
If you win this one, you're in good shape.
and in theory, because it's a game of runs or a series of runs, like because we have won, we should keep winning.
Yeah, I just don't know if it's like reset or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, continue, JP.
It definitely could be a chance for a reset. I hope not. Right now, we're slated to play, or we're not slated to play them next year.
Gotcha.
So it's not like a home and home or anything. Although we did play them 2.
Are they paying y'all
3
for
years
this
ago.
game?
No, there's no exchange
Okay.
in money. No, as far as I know.
They're paying us in wins.
We hope. In terms of State, for Mississippi State first, let's start with them because this is the first Mississippi State game of the year. So it's really the first. If you didn't see our State preview and the SEC preview, you may not know what the team looks like, what the roster is going to look like.
We don't really know what the team's going to look like.
We
with all
don't
the
really know
transfers.
yet either, but State has released a depth chart. Blake Shapen's going to start, not Camario, not Luke. And running backs, they've put an or on it, so we've got 2 running backs that are both starting, and Devon Booth and the transfer from South Alabama, Fluff Bothwell. In the receiver room, 3 guys are starting. 1 has started before in Jordan Mosley, but Brendan Thompson, the transfer from Oklahoma, and Marcus Allen will be our 3 starting receivers, and then a slot receiver called the position slot. Anthony Evans will start. Seydou Traore returns to play tight end. And then the offensive line is a big one, especially the interior. There's some big questions. There's 3 oars, 3 guys, 3 groups of 2 guys that could be starting in the interior at left guard, center, and right guard. Interested to see how that looks. But Blake Steen will start at right tackle. And then Albert Reese, a State veteran, will start at left tackle. Kyle Ferry's supposed to kick. Ethan Pulliam has an oar, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you I believe Ethan Pulliam will be our punter this year.
Sure.
Former State second baseman, has earned the punting job after retiring from baseball to go full-time as a punter. What an interesting change that I wouldn't look personally, I wouldn't do that, but
You don't see that very often.
more power to him and more power to Ethan. We'll be cheering him on this year.
Was he good at baseball?
He was a fine second baseman.
Yeah, he didn't start a whole lot, but he was a pretty classic. Like he'd come in as a pinch hitter and then play second, or come as a pinch runner.
Yeah, he was good at eating up innings. He was not a guy you would bat anywhere outside of 9 in a lineup if you were to be a starter, but he was a fine fielder. And that year, that team struggled with fielding a ton, and he didn't really make too many mistakes.
Sure.
So he's a fine player, but he's gone full-time to punter. For defense, this is where the biggest question marks are. It was obviously the biggest question marks of last season, where we were bottom 5 in the entire country in a lot of statistics that you don't want to be bottom 5 in defensively. In the jack position, we have Brandon Jennings, most likely starting. Malik Silla Silla, sorry.
He's a former Aggie, so
has a
I
chance
got you on that one.
to be the backup or to be kind of rotating. Defensive tackle and nose tackle are going to be two big ones with Jari Bledsoe. And then Kedrick Bingley-Jones.
Great name.
Those are two positions that are going to need to play really well this year. They did not play well last year, and it really ate us alive in the run game. Was a lack of bodies, really, that could rotate in that position. Obviously, health is a question there as well. For me, I think the defensive secondary has to be a strength for this team, and I hope it can be in some way. But we got a lot of guys that are going to rotate through there with Kelly Jones, who started with us before. Jet Jefferson will get the starting job this year. We got Diago Brunfield, Javen Williams. Those are your four corners. And then at safety, Brylan Lanier has moved from corner to play safety. Hunter Washington likely to start at strong safety. And then Jerron Manning is likely to be the backup for both of those and kind of interchange as well. And then for the strength of the actual team, it's in the Mike, it's in the Sam, and the Jack as well. Our middle linebackers, our linebackers in general. Isaac Smith is going to start at Sam. He's the only guy for that. Mike is going to be Nick Mitchell, our middle linebacker. And then, of course, like I mentioned, Brandon Jennings. So that's the defensive outlook right now for the depth chart. That's really subject to change because health has been an issue, especially for the team last year. So hopefully that doesn't become an issue this year. Sanders, can you speak to any of those players that you're really looking forward to seeing this year?
Any people you're surprised to not see in the kind of
Little surprised to not see Tony Mitchell, former 4/5 star, was at Alabama for a year before getting kicked off the team, went to JUCO for a year, now he's here. So would have liked to have seen him just because he's a former very talented player. But other than that, no, not super surprised. I'll be interested to see how the running back room pans out with Fluff and Devon Booth. I really like Devon Booth a lot. Him coming back was very exciting. One of the most exciting returners we have coming back. And then Fluff making the transition from what is US
South Alabama,
but Conference USA or
no,
what?
Sun Belt.
Sun Belt. Thank you. So making the transition from Sun Belt to SEC, I'll be interested to see how he performs. But yeah, not seeing Tony Mitchell is interesting. I'm just excited to watch Isaac Smith play football.
Yeah, Tony Mitchell right now is the third/second string Sam behind Isaac and Tyler Wardard. I'd expect him to get snaps at some point, but it's really Isaac is going to maintain that position for the majority of the season. He was rotated to that position late last year and then was productive there. I think I really want to see some year 2 development at the Sam position. It's nicknamed Sam, named after the Sam missiles that are used in, obviously, warfare. Because the Sam position, they line up on the strong side, which is wherever the tight end lines up. And they're normally blitzers off of that strong side. So Isaac is in that Sam position. But Tony Mitchell has a chance to get in there in the backup Sam position. The Jack position, there was a rumor that it was I saw a rumor on Ohio State's Reddit that it was named the Jack position only because of Jack Sawyer, because he played that position. But that's not the case. The Jack position is for college football teams that want to rotate from a 3-4 to a 4-3, either way, without having to substitute anybody. So these are guys that can line up and play defensive end and pass rush at the same time they can get to an outside linebacker spot.
Sure.
So Brandon Jennings is kind of dual threat in that. I want to see personally, I want to see, it is an outlook for this game as well, but I want to see the receiver room pop immediately. That was something that we saw last year that immediately we knew, okay, that's one of the strengths of the team with Mario Craver and Kevin Coleman. I want to see that this year as well, specifically with Brendan Thompson. We know he's supposed to be good, and we know he's probably our best receiver, but I want to see it. I want to see some touchdowns. I want to see his speed really kind of translate on the field. So that's something that's kind of big for this team, and I think especially big in this first game. Talking about Southern Miss, Charles Huff comes over from Marshall, where he was 32-20. And of course, they won the Sun Belt last year, finishing 10-3. They didn't play in the bowl game because he took the Southern Miss job, and they literally could not field enough players because so many players went in the portal that they could not play in the bowl game, which was insane. Southern has 54 incoming transfers, 19 of which have transferred from Marshall. They got a ton of transfers as well from Utah State, the school up north, a few transfers from State as well. Most notably, though, Braylon Braxton comes to Southern from Marshall, where last year he threw for 1,600 yards at a 60% completion percentage, was 19-2 in terms of touchdown to interception ratio, and ran for 600 yards and 4 touchdowns. Braylon is a big, physical runner, a capable passer, but that's really not his strong suit. Southern also had to retool their entire offensive line. After last year, they allowed the most tackles for loss in the FBS. So that's both in the run game and the pass game. They were brutal at offensive line. Guys they like, especially on the offensive line, is Hayes Creel. He's a 3-star offensive tackle transfer from McNeese. And then their 2-back approach is going to be Robert Briggs and Matt Jones, 3-star transfers from Utah State and the school up north, Old Piss. Both of them are smaller than 5'8" and under 200 pounds. So they're not big physical backs whatsoever. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic against an SEC defense.
Yeah.
And I put that in quotation marks because we don't really know if we're an SEC defense yet.
Sure.
That'll be something to see. State favored by 13.5. Sanders, you got any keys to the game? Jackie, you got any keys to the game? I've got 3, of course, but
I think keys to the game will be secondary. If you remember last year in our loss to Toledo and Arkansas, we could not cover anybody. And in part, that was due to defensive line not getting pressure at the quarterback, but it also just felt like we were leaving guys open by 10 or 15 yards. So I think being sure we can cover their wide receivers, because it's not like Toledo had NFL first, second, third round picks. We just weren't covering them. So I think stopping those passes, stopping the big plays. I think stopping the big plays is where I was trying to get with the keys to the game, is stopping the big plays and then trying to let our increased size on the defensive line, because we're a lot bigger than we were last year. If we can take away the big plays and then force them to play not just over the top, then we can start to try and take advantage of that size we have.
Yeah, I'll throw my hat into the ring for a key to the game
Sure.
as a non-state fan. Sanders kind of already alluded to it, but I think it's in the trenches, because y'all definitely were in an SEC program there last year. And obviously this is Southern, so you don't have to be an SEC program to control them in the trenches. But it would just be a good step if we really saw that from the jump. If y'all just, I know you want to see the wide receiver room pop, and they can on big plays, but just let Fluff Bothwell and Devon Booth just cook. Open up big holes for them to run through, and then defensively take away the run. Don't let Braylon Braxton use his legs. You know, that's what he wants to do, and then go from there. So that's kind of my key.
Another thing I'll say is being sure that Blake Shapen takes care of himself.
sure.
I don't want him because he got hurt last year. I think he could be a very good quarterback this year. I don't think he's a future star of college football like PFF has him, but I don't want him putting himself at risk against Southern Miss. We do not need the extra yard I don't want him lowering his shoulder for the extra yard on 2nd and 8. Like 3rd and 4 is fine. We don't need 3rd and 3. So just taking care of himself and being sure that he's around for the entire season. I want to see that from him immediately, taking care of himself, because he's had injuries here. He had him at Baylor. We don't need him getting hurt. So I think that's another big takeaway, is how does Blake Shapen play? Is he just going to be the same kind of not on the same level as Nick Fitzgerald, but kind of the same level of just not caring about his own safety? I need him to take care of himself.
Yeah, I agree. That's a really good point, Sanders. In terms of keys to the game for me, I agree with you guys on those. Punch early is a big one. I take whatever kind of crowd there is down there in Hattiesburg out of the game immediately is huge. They're hyping it up big. They're making it a rivalry. They're making it a big, big game. They haven't even sold out the stadium. You can still buy tickets from Southern Miss directly, meaning the game is not sold out right now. So that's kind of a bad look for that. But whatever crowd there is there, take them out of the game immediately. I want if we can score in the first 2 minutes, That'd be awesome, especially when we can get the ball to start the game. You think last year, like the first play of Levy's Showtime arrow is a touchdown, a 40 or a 58-yard touchdown to Jordan Mosley. It was against Eastern Kentucky, sure, but we literally scored on the first play. And we want something like that, especially against Southern down there on the road. I agree with Jack. The big thing with Braylon Braxton is I don't want to see him out-physical us. Like, I just don't want to see him overpower a linebacker. Don't want to see him stiff-arm a corner. Like, I think we need to take the physicality to him because he's not going to be scared to take the physicality to us at all. He was not at Marshall watching his tape. And if we see that early on, especially with it being on ESPN, that's not a good look for the program whatsoever. And then the final one is just Showtime. That's the mantra of the state program. That's the mantra of Jeff Levy. We didn't get a lot of it last year whatsoever offensively, only in kind of spurts here and there. I want to see Showtime. I want to see 35+. I want to see the over be hit on the points total. Even I don't care if you give up 24. Let's go score 35+, and be able to do that on the road.
Sure.
Picking the game now. As I said earlier, State favored by 13.5. Sanders, we'll start with you. You were hesitant to pick State to even win this game.
Yeah.
In recent past months.
Probably until we did the state preview 2 weeks ago. I had Southern Miss winning, and then started to do our state research, and I was like, no, we are much better than last year. This is not the same team. State's going to win. I think I am going to pick Southern Miss to cover, and that might. I think a lot of people have us winning by 30 or 40. I don't see that. I like Charles Huff as a coach. I like the team he brought with him from Marshall. And then also, I know they haven't sold out, but I do wonder how much excitement they are generating down in Southern Miss. From what I've seen, they stole DJ Cujo from us. DJ Cujo was fantastic, DJing all of our football games last year.
That's crazy.
Oh, did you not?
I forgot that happened. Someone mentioned it in the
I love DJ Cujo. I got to work with him at all the basketball games. Awesome dude. Very good at his job. Super easy to work with. Really sad to see him go to Southern Miss, but that's his alma mater, so it makes sense. But he's very good at his job and creating energy in the stadium. I think that Southern Miss has been doing a lot of work to create energy outside of the program and the fans and try and kind of reignite that. So I know they haven't sold out, and also this is a tidbit I was looking up. Their previous record for attendance is 2015 when they hosted us. So I'm not expecting them to break their record again, but I do think that it could be a good crowd for Hattiesburg.
There's still
so
a couple days to sell some tickets too. You never know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Can we get a
I'm going to pick Southern to cover.
Yeah, you picked Southern to cover.
Okay, but if you had to give a number to it.
Oh, we're picking scores?
If you want to pick a score, yeah.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, you don't have to if you don't want. I was just gonna do it for the state game.
41. Oh no, that's way too much for them Southern Miss to cover. I don't think they're going to score that much. I'll go 32-21.
Okay,
Interesting.
I'll go really quickly. I think State's the better team. I know Marshall was really good last year, and they brought a lot of those guys, and so maybe it's not like Southern's quite starting from scratch, but it's pretty close to that. And you mentioned State being better than last year. Last year, State was almost like starting from a back pedal. Like they were still moving backwards from everything with Arnett. And this year, they're at least they have 2 feet on the ground ready to start the season, and I think that's going to be a big difference. 38-17, Mississippi State.
So yeah, State covering. I think
Yes.
State covering. It's not one of my best bets of the weekend, but I have bet that we will cover, and I expect us to cover 38-24, 2 touchdowns right there, just barely covering the spread. And of course, that would be hitting the over as well. I expect that to happen. Should be really good weather, especially for this time of year. It's going to be beautiful skies down there in Hattiesburg, and we'll cheer on the Bulldogs, Hail State.